Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations.
What's up, Prime Real Estate Network listeners? It's your man, LarryWBrooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. Hey, when you get a moment, go ahead and go over to shoplwb.com. You can see the Pure Hustle merchandise that we have over there, some of our newer items that we have in stock, and of course, I got all the books that I've authored. I'd love for your support. You have a great day.
Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, I look forward to meeting you, and you can reach out to me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this week, and we have a really exciting episode planned for you all. So first thing first, I want to invite everyone to get involved in today's episode. If you're checking us out live on YouTube, leave myself or the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, a relevant real estate or entrepreneurial question in the comments section, and you may very well have your question answered on today's episode. Man, it's a great day to be here. Let's get everyone involved. The energy is great here at the Brooks and Davis Learning and Training Center at 2600 South Loop West, Suite 310 here in Houston, Texas. And we're going to get the show going. I want to take some time to introduce my co-host. He is not only a highly successful real estate broker, he's a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, and the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand. I want to thank him so much for being here with us on the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. And I'd like to introduce the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. How you doing?
Yeah, hey, Rick, look, I'm fixing my tie. Baby, I am good, man. I'm excited. I got my red tie popping today. We got an amazing guest that's going to be joining us. And I just want to tell everybody that's out there that's listening to the podcast, make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and definitely continue to help us push the brand. Not only that, Rick, I love that plaque sitting behind you over there, man, on the wall there. I received that reward many, many years ago as I was.
Okay, see now, since you're going to talk about the award, we're going to have to talk about your experience in the real estate space here in the city of Houston. So the award behind me, Mr. Brooks, how long ago were you bestowed this high and great honor?
Great question. I have no idea. It has to be somewhere within. What can I say, man? It was just one of those times when I was just, I still go through those rhythms and times of just doing the right thing, being in front of the right people, pushing and taking care of our clients, man. Like one of the things that really stand out about me about real estate is not only just being able to help build the relationship for agents that are looking to get into this industry and do well, but also just really helping out the consumer, right? That's a lot of times people overthink the process and they forget that realtors are needed. We're needed when it comes to buying and selling properties. And with that being said, that award is something that really spoke to that, me just being able to buy and sell and help people protect their interests when it comes to residential property and things of that matter.
I know we were joking about how long it's been that you've won this award, and it just shows your experience in the market. But the thing that I think is most important for our audience to realize is that this entire time, for more than 20 years, you've been out here in the real estate sphere, building your brand, building the brand of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, which is a perfect segue into today's guest, because today's episode is about how to protect your professional brand, how to protect your personal business interests in that brand, and how to scale and grow your brand, not just now, but into the future. So
definitely speaking of brand, before I get into it real quick, I want to give a shout out to, I went to the Greater Houston Partnership, I believe it was, or the Greater Houston Procurement breakfast this morning. I want to give a shout out to Milton. He's been hosting it. They said for almost 20 years straight. Him and his team. Also want to give a shout out to the Arvo Realty, Ed Ryland, and the team that over there, man. I had no idea how powerful we were in that room, just speaking with everyone and just meeting it, reintroducing myself to everyone. So shout out to that particular event. To do anything and have been doing something for 20 some years is crazy consistent. To say he has not missed a week of consistency. So shout out to Milton and his team that continue to host that event, and shout out to, again, my commercial brokerage firm that I'm with, Arvo Realty. So my bad, Rick. I just wanted to give that shout out.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you bringing that up, because we talk about on the show on a consistent basis the power of professional networking. Yes. And I think sometimes that can be undervalued. Even someone like yourself or myself that's been in real estate, owning a business for longer than 20 years, because you just talk about how fulfilling it is to network and be around like-minded professionals, and how that exchange of ideas and energy helps to bring you up and help to build you up as a professional.
It does, man. And the thing is because a lot of times what we tend to forget is we don't know what we don't know. So a lot of times when we in some of these rooms, we're getting to exposed to new things, new ideas. I mean, I was in a room today. I've never attended this in 20 years. And I was in a room today and found out it's just so much money out there. If you're a business owner or entrepreneur looking to get into business, there's people that'll give you money and you don't have to have anything for startup costs. So it was just being in rooms like that, man, which even leads to today's guest, having an opportunity, being out, hanging out, networking, and being able to meet today's guest. And then have an opportunity just to reach out to her and say, hey, you know what? I got this platform. I'd love to have you on it, to just, drop a few gems, drop some ways that you can help entrepreneurs continue to grow their business. Because I've just been watching her platform grow, watching the things that she's been able to create with her tools and her skill set. And I'm like, man, we really need her to be a part of the show, because we come in contact with so many professionals, some entrepreneurs and small businesses and services that she offers, or definitely things that they can tie into their business and grow and become more sufficient. And so tied up with things like that, man.
No, I appreciate you for sharing a little bit. One of the things that we like to do on a weekly basis is for you to share a little bit about how you were able to not only meet our guests, but able to gain their commitment to sit in. So how far back does your relationship or your networking relationship with our guest for this week go back?
Yeah, how long have I been on Instagram? Man, you know what? I can't think of a date. It's just been it's been a long time, and it's been it's been at least 5+ years. I know that for a fact. Right. When we bring her on, we're gonna see if she remembered the timeline.
Oh no, I want to thank you so much for sharing. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce this week's guest. This week's guest is not only one of Houston's most talented attorneys, but she is not only a business builder, entrepreneur, but she specializes in brand protection. You can follow her on Instagram at Taren TV. I want to thank her so much for sitting in with us, and I'd like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, the attorney, Miss Taren Marsaw. How are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm good. How are you all?
Doing good, team. Doing good. Now, I said I was going to put you in the hot seat.
You are.
Do you know how many years it's been?
It's been 5 or 6.
About 5 or 6. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. So I was in the bottom part. Every now and then that pandemic throw me off. I mean, I'm just, it throw me off.
Yeah, it was definitely before then, because people were outside.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
Ms. Taren, I'd like to ask you, and first I'd like to thank you for sitting in with us. I know how busy Thursdays can be for professionals, especially business owners, entrepreneurs like ourselves. So thank you so much. Practicing in a city or a market the size of Houston with so many business owners and entrepreneurs, how has not only your services been needed, how have you expanded your services to serve all the differing needs of different types of business owners and entrepreneurs? Because that brand protection is something that I think we need to share that message out there in the audience. So could you just talk a little bit about not only your attorney, your brand, but also what it is you do for business owners?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you for having me. So what I do is very unique in my space. To give you a little bit of background, before I went to law school, At the age of 16, I will go back there. I became a photographer. So that was my first business. And when I went to college, I went to Spelman. And when I was there, of course, in the heart of Atlanta, media is everything. So I was hustling with my camera. And the more businesses that I would come across, they would say, well, you took pictures. Can you also do graphics? Can you do website design? And so I needed to hustle to put, clothes on my back and things like that while I was in college. So I taught myself web design, branding, all of the things before Instagram, before all of Facebook wasn't even out. Facebook is like the first year Facebook was like popping.
Oh, wow.
People were coming on Facebook. And so when I did get my law license, I had so much experience with business already and helping to build brands from a creative side that I was like, well, there's so much that I've learned in law school that a lot of people are making mistakes on. This is not stuff that you learn every day or that you come across. And so I said, moving forward, when I work with my branding agency clients, I have to bring in the law because it does no good to give you a pretty business card and you're gonna get sued,
That point, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's great though. That's very unique that you developed that skill set. But you know what? I will honestly say Atlanta was one of those breathing grounds for just being, building that hustle inside of you and then finding ways to grow. That's crazy. That's what's up.
Yeah, and I think that too, when you start talking about what business owners need, you see, if you look at even the last 10 years, it's changed so much.
Yes.
Because, we talk about like when Instagram came around, you said something about like, when did you first get on Instagram? Remember when it first came out, everybody just wanted to use filters. And it was like, take a picture of your food and take a picture of yourself. And that was it. And now, we're not even 10 years away from that part of what Instagram was and how it's making people millionaires within months. Yeah. And so the needs are changing. People who are starting businesses, they're going viral really fast and then they're having to hire people. But if you don't know anything about hiring and you don't know the law about hiring, chances are you're breaking the law. Even with hiring people, right? And so I've seen some very interesting things. Like I've seen young girls who are influencers and they try to enforce dress codes for the women that they hire. So we need you to wear heels. We need you to wear makeup. Your hair has to. Some of those restrictions are against the law. And so when we're talking about brand protection, it's not just about, do I get my logo copyrighted? Do I have this trademark? It's about what are you doing? Where are you growing? Where's your business now? Where will it be 6 months, a year, 5 years from now? And let's start having these conversations.
The funny thing, and I thank you so much for sharing, is that social media, to your earlier point, there are so many entrepreneurs that are building their brands and they're exploding on the scene and they're going from 0 to 100 in 6 months, 18 months, 2 years. What are some of the things that you've seen from a professional standpoint that most social media entrepreneurs are doing incorrectly, and it could keep them from achieving those successes that they see in their mind's eye?
Oh, it's a few things. The first thing that is the most prominent is that they build their business backwards. And so what they do is they go and they get a logo, they get an LLC made, and then they get their handle for their social media, get a Square or Stripe or Cash App, and then they're in business. And then I can't tell you how many clients on the intellectual property side come to me and they are like, it'll be like a Sunday, I'm in church and my phone will not stop ringing. And when I answer it, I know it's, my influencer folks, and they'll say, I just got a letter and I have 30 days to either completely change my entire business or I'm going to get sued. And it's because they didn't do the proper research at the beginning. So they're like, ooh, I'm the Louisiana real estate queen.
Yeah.
And now I've got 1 million followers. And then Texas real estate king says, wait a minute. No, you can't do that. That's my brand. Yeah. But she never knew because she was only thinking about Louisiana. And she's the queen and not the king. And so you right, and so it's these nuances
That's some
where
things for sure. Because we had a
Okay.
guest that actually did that. Like she changed her handle to I think it was Boston Real Estate Queen. Like because of
Ah,
the text.
yes, that's I
You remember
remember
that?
now, Larry. That's a very point. A great point. Great point.
can't do that.
Now, Taryn,
Wow.
I have to ask because Larry and I both agree with you that that's the type of thing you want to take care of on the front end because you don't want to get that menacing letter in the mail after 2 years and you've built up your brand and you have quite a following.
Mhm.
Now, for those that are in their cubicle checking us out on their computer, at home checking us out on their cell phone, who's listening to us in their car but still driving safely, and they're thinking to themselves, I'm just starting. I'm not in a position to need the help of an attorney, especially someone as talented as Ms. Taren Marsaw. What do you say to that person who's just starting their Instagram account and they have one single follower?
There's no greater time to start
Thank you.
than now.
The foundation. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the foundation. The taller you see yourself going, the more time you spend on your foundation. And so, and then also, I mean, think of any relationship. Your business is a relationship, and you're going to spend plenty of time in that relationship. But you think about a relationship, how do you want it to start? Do you want it to start it with like nothing going on in the beginning? It's beautiful, it has a honeymoon phase. Because that's really how you want your business to start as well. You don't want a whole bunch of drama and chaos when you do launch. So I do tell people there are options. I have a course, and the course right now for November, which is my birthday month and Black Friday month. Hey,
Hey, you
um,
forgot about it. I know that's right. Get ready, get it
um,
loaded.
yes. So it's on sale right now to celebrate, and so it's super affordable entry for someone just starting. It's under $300, and that
Yes.
is, yeah, it's 4 hours of me literally saying, "Hey guys, here are where your lawsuits are. If you can dodge these, you'll be clear at least to start you out."
Yes, and I
Now
mean,
that's
definitely
outstanding.
so they need to find what website do they need to go to get that. That's ideal because when you're getting started in this thing, something like that is ideal to have in place when building out your foundation. I mean, I wish that we had things like that back then when I first got started in business and start trying to understand what that looks like. That's the foundation right there. Just pouring back into yourself to make sure that you're doing it the right way.
Yep, it's at marsawlaw.com.
Good,
So
good.
you'll be asked to download a freebie, which is amazing. I spent a lot of time making sure that every question that I typically get is answered in there. So that freebie by itself is going to be worth at least $100. And then once you get through that, you'll see everything that's inside the course. So the majority of your concerns, if you're worried about this $1 million idea you know that you have, but you're scared to market because it's big dogs out here that'll swoop up and take it, or even the homie next door who has been
Yeah.
watching you very carefully, and it seems like every time you come up with an idea, they take it.
Hey,
Um,
hey, that's what they showed me in Billions. When I watch Billions, they like, we gonna come get that idea. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So the businesses that are larger, that have more capital, they have more resources, and they can get an ad up within 24 hours while you're still hustling, trying to get capital to create an ad campaign. So there are things that for the underdog, or not even the underdog, the person that's new and you have this idea that you really want to protect, there are things that you need to know so that you can fight and you can maintain your intellectual property rights against those big dogs. And so I talk about that inside the program.
No, what's so impressive about you having the courses because that would keep the early adopter, that new business owner from having to reach out to you and schedule hours of consultation. You can get them started on the fundamental level through your course. And as they scale and grow, then they can reach out to you as far as tutelage on how to properly expand and still stay within their legal rights and responsibilities. So could you talk about those more established businesses that are at the point where they feel like, okay, we have a viable business, we have a great plan in place, and it's time to reproduce this similar plan and just expand it over different markets. Could you talk about some of the things that you do to help people that are in that position?
Oh, absolutely. That's my favorite. So I love that you said reproduce what we already have, because once these businesses have a recipe for success, and they're like, okay, we know how it works in our market. We're going to go to this next market. What typically happens is the concerns change. And so now you're not in the day to day because you can't be in two places at once. So what you're experiencing at that point is, how do I keep my employees from competing with me? How do I make sure that the trade secrets and the things that I'm using in order to come into the market, and that's on both sides. That's recruiting new talent, right? Because that's part of your trade secret, knowing where to go to find good people. But then it's also what's out in the market. So how do we price, and then how do we have structures so that we keep our clients longer? So if somebody buys from us, and then they normally at the 4-month marker, they buy something else more expensive and it's like hidden behind the scenes. All of those things have to be protected once you go into a new market, and you're not there every day. So your relationship with these people is not so scary. They're not thinking, well, I have to see Larry, through town. They don't have to see you if you're coming and going. You're just their boss. And so at the point of scale, what I have found is that website design, that coding technology, scaling your business using technology is so much safer than the paper and pen kind of manual way. And so what I tell people all the time is that you can hide your trade secrets using automation, because let the computer do the mass of your thought process and kind of like think like you. And then once your computer is just spitting out the little recipe, the end of the recipe that tells people, check this, check this, check this, they don't know everything that happened beforehand. So they can't reproduce your exact strategy.
I thank you so much for
Speaking of
sharing
that,
that
that's
type of
really
information.
cool.
Go ahead, Larry, please.
I was sitting there thinking, because I'm like, I've seen you on your IG page talk about automation and things like that. And I know that comes from some of the coding that you have in your background. And I think that's an ingenious ideal. Now, are you and your team able to do that for any business, or what is an ideal business for you being able to produce something like that? Because when I seen the reel or the demonstration that you did, I was just like, wow, like everybody needs this. I mean, it makes you, it leverages you up in exactly what you just said. So is that something you are able to do for any business?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a saying, and it's, if your business has steps 1, 2, 3, and then you're out of the door, then it can be automated.
Wow.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because what makes knowing someone like you so powerful, and the value of having someone like you on any entrepreneur's power team, is that you have the experience of hearing everyone's horror stories. Larry can attest to this. When you're out networking and you're around successful business owners, we exchange best practices, but they're not always as candid about some of the challenges that we've all run into as far as being business owners, being business builders, and entrepreneurs. So, what are some of the things that you have to continuously impart upon entrepreneurs to let them know that we can't skip these steps? Are they more about organization? Is it more about recruiting talent? Because as you mentioned, some of the things about automation that you brought up are things that you wouldn't know would be a problem until they're a problem. Having someone like you with that type of knowledge base helps to put people ahead of the game. So, how often are people just totally mind blown when you explain to them the value of automation and how you're protecting them on the front and the back end?
All the time. Every single conversation about automation, because most people think of automation as either too scary, too technical. I don't even want to think about that.
Right.
Or they're like, oh, I know automation. And when they think of automation, they're like, I can send an invoice and I can have my email sent on a scheduler. And so when they come to me, what I always do is I'm like, let's not talk about anything technical. Tell me, if you had your perfect personal assistant, what would they do for you? Yeah. And from that, if they're like, oh, and all I got to do is what I like in my business, and I'm like, yeah, give me that dream. And then we can pretty much automate all the stuff they hate. Wow. And so, yeah, so it's when you think about automation, you literally think about it from this standpoint. Don't think about anything technical. The only thought process is, what do I do on repeat that I hate doing.
Yeah.
And you can literally write that out and it can be automated. But one of the things to answer this question, because I do think this is a really good question for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Automation has ways of protecting you when the laws change. And so let me explain to you what I mean. Most people, and especially on social media, everybody talks about non-compete contracts and non-compete provisions.
All the time.
Okay. So the FTC, who is the government agency that controls like what type of restrictions we can have in our contracts, this year in 2023 is now proposing that non-compete restrictions no longer be legal. Businesses they don't even know that it's coming, but in the legal world, everyone is like, what the heck are people going to do if they can no longer stand on a non-compete? That is chilling for a business owner, because that means that anybody you bring in is now your competitor. So automation, right? So now can you hear me?
Yeah. So like, how do you? So how will because even that, with that being said, that's even the shine is nail. Because when I sit down with people, they always got creative ideas, but they again want me to sign a non-compete because of where we are. Like how do you I don't even know how someone would be able to share their vision if they don't know how to implement it themselves. Like, how do you share your vision with someone if you can't be like, listen, I don't want you stealing this?
Well, so the NDA is still available. So the non-disclosure is still available.
Oh, non-compete. I'm sorry, non-compete is. I done taught you the game. And you trying to take.
Yeah. They're so easy to mix up.
That's right.
They're so easy to mix up. But the non-compete says, okay, I'm going to bring on somebody into my real estate firm, and I'm going to have them, even if they're just your assistant, but I'm going to have them see my whole book of business. They can see every single networking event that I go to, what brings in the most money when I do certain things in my business. They see my whole workshop. There's nothing to stop them if the non-compete doesn't work. There's nothing to stop them from going to the Louisiana real estate queen and taking your entire recipe and saying, girl, let's make this money. So that's the scary part of the non-compete. But here's the thing. So let's say that is what you're trying to do and you do need an assistant. Well, guess what? If you don't want to give her your book of business, but you're like, hey, I need to send out text messages to everybody about a party that I'm about to have and a networking event and this, that, and third, automate it. Because automate it. She'll never see your book of business. She'll never, for what? She doesn't have to. It's on a schedule. Everything that you have on your calendar is pre-planned. You sat there for an hour and scheduled your whole year. And so now when your assistant comes in, you know, hey, I got some things going on in the back. So you might get a phone call or two about an event, but you're not going to see my whole client list ever.
Wow. That makes sense.
No, because, oh my God, it's so powerful, because from what I'm taking from this conversation is that automating those steps in your business not only keeps you efficient business-wise, but it also keeps you compliant.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most powerful part of what it is. And people wouldn't understand that that's one of the main values of automation without reaching out to you, Taren. So just for the members of our audience that just tapped in 2 seconds ago, share your contact information with them, how they can go about booking a consultation on your website, because throughout this interview, I want everyone to know how they could tap in with you and change the future perspective of their entire business.
First thing first, you're going to go to Marsaw Law, MARSAWLAW.com, and get your freebie. It's going to save you so much time. It's going to get you so much information. As soon as you get there, then we can talk. You'll get information from me, from a newsletter. You will have my phone number. You'll have links to my calendar. You get the whole gamut just by going to marsawlaw.com.
And thank you so much, because, you know, Larry and I both being career real estate practitioners, entrepreneurs, and professionals, I want to help to focus and narrow our scope a little bit on the real estate sphere specifically. For those real estate brokers, real estate agents, mortgage lenders, mortgage brokers, when they reach out to you, what type of things do they request, and how have you helped people in the past that are specifically in the real estate sphere?
So that's the fun part. So we can automate so much of your DM activity. So it's two ways that I want to show you. So first marketing, and then the second way is actual fulfillment of some of these like monotonous things that you guys do. So first, so some of our influencer people who will go with their cell phone and they will tour a house and then they put it up on Instagram. Well, as soon as they see that house, the people are like, how much is it? What, and they're DMing these folks all day, every day. Mm-hmm. So one of the cool things that you can do with automation is you can create a word that goes along with the house. So say the house is on MLK Boulevard. So the word is Martin Luther. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is say, comment Martin Luther in my DMs. Well, as soon as that comes in, the automation sends out everything about the house.
Oh.
Yeah, and so they don't have to ever talk to these folks, but they're constantly interacting. And so it's also, you can, we have ways now where we can put robots into the DM. So so even if they're like, okay, I like the way this sounds, do you have availability to show me the house? Well, the robot knows your schedule. So the robot's now talking, sure, what were you thinking? Do you have availability on Wednesday or afternoons or morning better? So that's the marketing side. Now the fulfillment side, the monotony of sitting there trying to put an offer in and dealing with a client who keeps going back and forth, and even having things signed. So if you are working with different people in closing and you're needing paperwork signed, some of that stuff can be automated. So all you have to do is write on your phone, just take your phone out, type in your little information that you need, shoot it over to the necessary party, and then let your automation track that information. But if they haven't sent you what you need, the automation can say, hey, we're still waiting on you to give this item. We're still waiting for this. And you're out and about doing your thing while your automation is working behind the scenes.
Because we have quite a few virtual assistants. And so it just seems like it's like the automation is a virtual assistant on steroids, right? Like they're able to do it. A lot of the things that you're saying, it sounds like that. But it seems like once you put this into play, instead of if you ever lose a virtual assistant having to reteach this again, the automation is ongoing. You may have to update it from time to time, depending on what changes in your business. But it sounds like it just takes a mind of its own.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you find that you start hiring people in the overhead that you're using to hire humans. Yep. You're hiring the best humans because you're not hiring them to do like little admin tasks because you have that handled. Now you're hiring them to grow your business.
Yes.
One of the cool things about you being so transparent, I want to thank you for helping us navigate through your entire career from when you were a photographer and a media creator to being an attorney that assists content creators and social media influencers. Between you being a student and a creator and an artist in a way, evolving to a professional and an attorney and a businesswoman, were there any professionals, any mentors, were there anyone who motivated you or served as an example throughout that evolutionary process? Because sometimes Larry and I discuss this every week with all of our business owners, is that when people meet you, Taren, they may not necessarily value the evolutionary processes that you've gone through to be the vibrant professional that you are today. So is there anyone, a course, a book, a professor that you can credit as being almost like that lighthouse or that guiding light that helped to get you to this particular point?
It's a lot of people. And you know what's so funny about being an entrepreneur? I think that a lot of times people look at other entrepreneurs and feel like that's the only way that they can get what they need. And one of the most influential people for me was actually a professor from Spelman. And I went to her to have her write my recommendation letter for law school. And she said no. And I said, why? I'm like, in my feelings, I'm like, no, I need you to write this. And she said, I can't write this for you because you're a filmmaker. And until you tell me why you're putting away the creative side to become a lawyer, I'm not going to be able to let you come off course.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we sat in that office for about an hour, and she said, I need you to promise me that you will figure out how to merge it, how to still be yourself as an attorney. And then she also said, because you're going to learn how to think in law school, but that's not going to be your destination.
Wow.
She was.
Listen, she already saw the vision. She was dropping the gems. Man, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Poured into. That is how somebody pours into you even before you see all of who you are yourself. Wow.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, and her name is Dr. Height. She's one of the most brilliant women I've ever met in my life.
Shout out Dr. Heights.
Yes.
Wow.
I appreciate you sharing that because sometimes, especially when we're young people, all it takes is that motivational sit down or a push in the right direction or someone to set an example, because people like yourself that are talented and driven, they can definitely follow a path as long as you trust that this path is going to lead you to where you want to go. So big, huge shout out to Professor Height. Now, I have to ask you this, Taren. For those members of our audience that have heard your message for the first time and would like to meet, greet, and interact with you on a personal basis, are there any networking events? Are you heading up any fundraisers? Is there anything that you're doing in the public sphere where Larry, myself, and all the members of our audience could come meet, shake your hand, take pictures, and interact with the attorney, Ms. Taren Marsaw?
Not for the rest of this quarter. However, if you guys invite me somewhere, then I will come, and then you can tell your audience to pull up.
Okay, we're going to have to hold her to that. Now, she don't get out that often, man.
I don't, but I'll come.
This is the holiday person. You only see them during holiday seasons, birthday seasons, like she said earlier. Like she hold her girls down, like so. Okay, we're going to hold you to that. All right, we're going to put the play together, Rick.
Hey, no, it's so funny, Larry. See, she must have not remembered that the famous Brooks and Davis real estate firm holiday party
that is
coming up in the very, very, very near future. So if that's not on your social calendar, stay plugged into the Texas Real Estate King on IG. Stay plugged into myself on IG, because that Brooks and Davis holiday party is always a smash at the end of the year. So you definitely have an invitation, man, but we will definitely keep you on deck to make sure you're there. I thank you so much, because from a real estate perspective, you've been so enlightening. As a business owner, you brought some things to my attention and Larry's attention that we may not have necessarily been considering. Do you have a final message for those aspiring real estate professionals, those that are going to become recently licensed, that's on to start their first business, that just went down to the courthouse and got their first DBA and have the DBA paperwork in their hand? Do you have a final message for them, Taren, so you can motivate and inspire them to not only build their business, but also protect their personal brands and their legacy?
Yes, my advice to anybody starting is, this is faith based, but I do believe that when you ask God for an apple tree, he gives you the apple seed. And so as you continue to grow, just remember that every day that you're in the business, in the dog days of your business, you're watering the seed, and eventually it will become an apple tree.
That's right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. No, you have a seat with Larry and myself all the time.
Yeah. I want to say thank you so much for being a guest. I appreciate you. And since I've met you, I've just watched you grow this business and just be amazing at what it is that you do. So thank you so much for taking time out your day. Thank you so much for always responding when I reach out. Those are the type of relationships that's very difficult to build. And I thank you for being a kind friend and being such a receptive friend as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a seat with Larry and myself anytime. So
anytime.
Once we go into 2024, anything that you're doing as far as your organization, Larry and I will be at all of your events with bells on. So please keep us informed, keep us in the know. And I want to thank you so much, Queen, for sitting in with us on this week's edition of the Prime Real Estate Network.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you so much. Blessings to you. Come on, Larry. See, I don't think the members of our audience had any idea what type of heat we were going to be bringing with our guests when they saw that power red tie. So
Yeah,
from now
hey,
on, let that be the
look
symbolic
at this symbolic.
meaning to let everybody know when you see Larry in the Power Red tie, that week's guest is gonna be as fiery as the red tie
Don't do
Mr.
me
Brooks
like
is
that,
wearing.
man. Listen here, listen. Hey, but you know what? Definitely, if they definitely need to tap into her website as well as her social media. I love the gems that she's always dropping on there. Like I learned so much just going through them. Like man, listen, it's just so much stuff. Again, one of my things that I always tell people is we don't know what we don't know. Sometimes we don't know the questions that we need to be asking in order to grow. So for those of you that just looking at lining up or getting into business, definitely go to Taren's website and get that information. And then you know what it is, what questions you may need to ask moving forward. And of course, I'm sure we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I'm sure she offers coaching or offers her services as another part of a resource. So definitely be able to tap in. But you want to start off with the foundation. And it's like when I was talking to Marcus Bowers last week, we was at an event together, and you know he believes in AI and he believes in he believes in the month of what month we got today with Black what's today is
Black Friday, right?
Black Friday. He's like, listen, the world has taught you how to go out and purchase things at a discounted price that gives you amazing value. So right now, something like a course or something like information that Taren is offering that can help you build out or grow your business or maybe answer some of the questions that you as a startup business may have, this is an ideal time to get it. And I guarantee you that's a great price, a great value. So yeah.
No, man, that's outstanding, man. Once again, you've outdone yourself, man. I want to thank you so much for bringing in such talented professionals like Miss Taren Marsaw into the show.
Yeah.
What you got going this weekend? What's going on in the world of the Texas Real Estate King? Will you be out and about, networking, shaking and baking? And what can we expect this weekend from you, sir?
Yeah, man. It's gonna be an amazing week. You know, we're going in the holiday season. So tonight I'll be hanging out at an open house, a luxury real estate open house by a fraternity brother. Dave Brown is hosting. And so that'll be an amazing event. I'm going to stop by there, show some love, and you know, maybe do some reels or something with the gentleman. In addition to that, a friend of the podcast, Taylor, with Disruption Nation, he's hosting an event tonight. Going into the holiday season, it's going to be a masquerade ball. So I got my mask. I'm excited about, you know, showing up in my mask and just really entertaining and being there for that. And then on tomorrow, for those of you that may be available, shoot me a DM or leave a message in the comment section here. But we're gonna, myself and Tiffany Ryland with RO Realty, we're gonna be hosting a boot camp at 12 noon tomorrow for the Third Ward location of Mean Green Boot Camp. Y'all know I'm a sound. Mean Green is my brother. Not only that, but I've been a member since 2013. And so we're going to be supporting the new location, which is the Third Ward location. It's free. You just show up. We want to give you exposure to this brand new gym, this amazing new gym and everything that is offering. Again, we're going to be there starting at 12, get there at 11:45 and join in on some of this fun. It'll be less than an hour. You won't be dead after. You'll still be able to get your work and things like that done, but you will get a good sweat. You will get exposed to an amazing gym, and you will have an elite trainer, someone that has been doing this for many, many years, changed lives doing this at your service. So we're excited about that. Myself, again, Arvo Realty Advisory, along with Tiffany Ryland, excited to do that.
And I advise everyone that goes out to support Tiffany and Larry, make sure you have your cutest athletic wear on, because it's going to be great photo opportunities. Have your headband, your wristbands, and everything that you need, because it's a great opportunity to not only network, but exercise, feel great, and get that early morning pump in, man. That's going to carry you for the rest of the day, Larry.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, man, I'll be going to the game this weekend, man. Want to support my brother, Shani Davis. You know what I'm saying? Him and the squad is in the playoffs, second round of the playoffs. They're going to be playing against Clear Creek. So we're excited about that, too.
Yeah, like you say, man, appreciate you for shouting them out, man. Big, huge shout out to all the coaching staff, the players, all the faculty at Summer Creek High School in Humble, man. It's playoff season, man. We support fam here, so On about half of myself, Ric Davis, you can follow me on Prime Real Estate Rick on IG, and Mr. Larry W. Brooks, the Texas Real Estate King, everywhere that you can put in on social media. Man, we want to thank everybody for tuning into the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. Get involved, like, follow, share, join the movement. Until next Thursday, everyone out there in the audience, please be safe and be blessed.
Be blessed.